3, 2, 1. Dave.
Man, ain't no damn Dave. It's just Big Dog Chico, Deuce Scoop, and Uncle Neely. It is the morning run kicking off this last Monday of September. Man, it's gonna be October on Wednesday. Y'all ain't know that. We're gonna talk some CU versus BYU. We're gonna talk about the Ravens and their Super Bowl hopes. We're gonna talk about JuJu Watkins in her season. We're gonna do it all on the morning run.
Good morning to the runners out there. Appreciate y'all mounting up right here on the morning run live on the Pregame Network. Uncle Neely, Duke Scoop, Big Dog Chico, coming to you at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And of course, shout out to Goonsville Clothing with the nice Goonsville hat, Pregame Network merch. Duke's the Scoop, Atlantic, Big Dog Chico, Goonsville Athletics. And go to uncandchico.myshopify.com and get you some whenever you get a chance to. Wake up this morning. Appreciate y'all joining in once again. Crayola.
Yes, sir.
The premium choice. We up in this thing. Hey, got a big game coming up this week. Just got done with another big game. BYU. We're going to talk about Colorado Buffaloes football, of course, on the morning run, and the latest and greatest in the sports and culture world. Got JuJu Watkins, NFL, Cowboys. Where you want to start, Unc Duke?
Let's go. I think we can go Colorado BYU. I mean, as a matter of fact, Uncle Neely sent us a pretty good lineup today. Shout out to Uncle Neely for producing the show. On the low, he did. Hey, so
boy, you crazy. I tell you what, Dukes.
Hey, let me
just in case.
In rare form.
Coach Pollock hit me, and he gonna try to join on. Let's do one of the other things first.
Okay, bet. All right, so let's go with. Are the Ravens still Super Bowl contenders? So yesterday, the Ravens had a big time loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas. Lamar Jackson once again not able to conquer that. I guess that maybe that's the giant that he has to face. But at the end of the day, Kansas City looks like a Super Bowl contender again with the return of Xavier Worthy, and the Ravens look like the seller of the AFC right now, and that's what they're playing like. What's your opinion, Unc?
Yeah, man. We talked about in the preseason how this was going to have to be Lamar's season, to get over the hump. Because much like the Jordan era with the Bulls or the Tom Brady era with the Patriots, you've had this Patrick Mahomes era with the Chiefs that's kept quite a few future Hall of Fame quarterbacks from hosting that Lombardi on the main stage. If not for the existence of fill in the blank, other people would have done it. And so this was going to look like the season. Okay, Lamar, you got the 2 MVPs. You that dude, but can you get over that hump? And, early in the season, much like Colorado, you have a loss here, loss there. The season is not over. But so you're just looking for like, okay, when's that regroup moment? And Kansas City had that regroup moment. And, they're still Kansas City. We're talking about on the AFC side. We know the Eagles won it all on the NFC side. But it really just looks like, man, the Ravens have taken more of a step back this season than other people. And now you're looking at a hamstring injury. I haven't heard how long it's going to be, which could be even more detrimental to the plans of getting past just being MVP and being a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I mean, when it rains, it pours, right?
Yeah.
When you think about yesterday, you're already dealing with a ton of injuries. Then your star cornerback, Nate Wiggins, is hurt. Marlon Humphrey is hurt. Roquan Smith, the quarterback of your defense, gets hurt. And then you go and you turn around, and now your actual quarterback, the MVP, he gets hurt. So when you look at the linear injuries, and then you look at also everything that goes along with being a championship football team, none of that looks like the Baltimore Ravens. Everybody's rooting for Lamar Jackson. I think it's one of those things where it's almost like he feels like Obama of quarterbacks. Even though Pat Mahomes has some really likable traits, you want to see Lamar get one for doing it his way, for people calling him a running back and him being a quarterback, for somebody saying he just doesn't seem quarterbacky. I don't know if you guys remember that. The journalist kind of was like, Lamar Jackson just doesn't feel quarterbacky. And for Lamar, you want to see him succeed. Yesterday, I believe he throws his first interception yesterday of the season, and it looks like it was downhill from there. And it seems like certain games, certain players, and even certain coaches, we saw this. I would say, I think we saw this a little bit with Kirby Smart. They press against certain people, and I think Lamar Jackson presses against the Chiefs, and then it just ultimately ended up with an injury and a resounding loss. Let me get that out right. And now you may have just messed up and let the Chiefs get their mojo back, because now with Xavier Worthy back stretching the field with that 4.240, they look like a completely different team. Isaiah Pacheco is running like he was 2 years ago. You got Kareem Hunt, a retread, who's back catching the ball out of the backfield. You get Brashard Smith from SMU, who's a converted wide receiver to running back. What do you think a converted wide receiver running back does? Catches the ball out of the backfield. So, yeah, I think I don't at this moment. There's no way I can call the Ravens a Super Bowl contender, and if anything, they were a stepping stone to the Chiefs returning to their Super Bowl status.
Yeah, they were. Man, what always just amazes me was the way numbers look, just to the eye, even though they're not far apart. It is the Chiefs are 2-2. The Ravens are 1-3. It's one game apart, but it looks totally different.
Totally.
It looks like, damn. 1-3 is like, okay, like 2-2 just it look better, feel better, sound better. It's just one game off.
That's it.
But that 1-3 is a mofo, particularly when one of them three, is against the people you were trying to overcome. And I think it's like you said, some emotional, even from the coaches, the equipment staff, I don't care where it is, that this is, facing the Chiefs, we got to do this, got to do that. And it's almost like doing too much. And when you do too much, you lose your own, what you should be doing and focused on, and get away from it. Then the wheel starts to wobble, then the wheels come off. I will say this, just like we've articulated about Coach Bryant's Buffs, because it's almost mirrored there. A lot of football left, and anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you had to just lay a bet right now on if the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl, an arrow that was pointing 60 or 70% in favor is now about 60, 70% against.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of it, Dukes.
Yeah, I mean, and think about it. But I tell you what's even better about that for a team, for a fan or the sport, or a fan of the Ravens who in particular likes to wager on things like this. This is when you would go to mybookie.ag, use that TMR code and say, hey, listen, I think the Ravens have a better shot than not of reaching the Super Bowl, and you'll get those crazy odds. Or saying, right now, you can really say, can the Ravens win the AFC North? When you look at the AFC North, the Steelers are out in front, but I can see a world where Lamar Jackson can track down Aaron Rodgers. So it's one of those things where the football season comes in quarters, and this was a bad first quarter for the Ravens. But guess what? Now with this 17-game season, you've got 13 opportunities to make the first four look better. So I don't think it's woe is me, but just as of today, I don't think they look like a Super Bowl contender. And in 6 weeks, we could be singing a totally different tune.
Man, you ever see the movies? I think I've given you this analogy before, Dukes. You ever see the movies where the president got to make the decision to launch or not? And they got that button there, and that button is under that acrylic lid. You ain't hitting the button, but you done lift the lid. Just for the drama, you done lift that little lid. Your finger ain't on the button, you ain't about to press the button, but the lid is up because you can't sustain another quarter, as you put it, like this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Then you're mathematically too far behind. But a lot of football left, depending on how lingering this hamstring is for Lamar, if he has to miss significant amount of time, and depending on if it's one of those things that reoccurs. Can he really go through the season? Can he come back and then go through the season being himself, 90 to 100%, and things could work out to be okay. Let me look at their schedule setting, if I may. All right, they next up with the 1-3 Texans. That could go either way, even with the backup. Then they go to the Rams. That's going to be a tough one. They got the Bears, then Dolphins. then Vikings could be a tough one, then Brown. So you talk about 3 of their next 5 are winnable.
Yeah, I mean, right, and depending on the injury, there isn't every game is winnable when you got Lamar Jackson, depending on the injury, right? If he's on the way he, usually, like we're talking about a couple of fumbles away from being 3-1. So if there's a storm, there it seems like it could be the perfect storm as long as you got health. What really hurts the Ravens right now is that you didn't get those 3-1, and now you got the injuries. That could have been your cushion for having a Lamar Jackson injury, for having a Nate Wiggins injury, for having a Roquan Smith injury. And these are linked like those. I think Roquan Smith had a hamstring too. These are lingering type injuries. So you lose some of your cushion, just like we talked about last week, man. When you got books you're supposed to win, man, you can't lose them because it makes the rest of the game hard. That's an Uncle Neelyism, but he right as could be on that one.
Yeah, let's stay over there on the AFC for a second, man, because we talked about what was going to happen with the Dolphins down there in Miami. Now being the official 3rd team in Florida. Because everybody's riding high on Jacksonville. Everybody's riding high on Tampa Bay. Just took their first loss of the season.
Thank you, Eagles.
Yeah, and so here it is. They got the Jets on Monday night. It's Monday. That's tonight. Both are 0-3.
And
I would say that the Jets got more house money to play with their newer coach than the Dolphins have. Dukes, what you think?
When you look at the 2 ways that these guys have accumulated their records, it seems so much. You got the Jets who came out in that emotional loss to the Steelers week 1. Then you saw them with the block punt last week, where it was like, Aaron Glenn is dancing down the sideline, right? And it seems a little bit
Still got
different.
some sprint on him, man. He was moving.
Hey, man, Aaron Glenn was my guy back in the day.
Yeah.
So when you look at the 0-3s, we just talked about how records could be so similar and look different. Well, these records are the same, but the trajectories are in 2 totally different directions. Because now it looks like with the Jets, you got house money, a coach in year 1. Now, I will say this. You will get fired in year 1 if you're a certain kind of coach. I ain't going to say what kind of coach, but I'm going to just say you will get fired in year 1. It does happen.
Like UCLA, if you look like that.
Man, hey, man, listen. Hey, there's a bluebird blue. But what I'll say is this. Mike McDaniel also has had a lot of time to get it together. And the way it started in Miami versus the way it's looking now are 2 different things. Now, injuries. Is this the same tool? Probably not. When you look at Tyreek Hill, how much of losing a step affects his effectiveness? I mean, he can lose a half a step and be faster than 90% of the league. But is he still that hyper fast guy he was when he was, the first year he got to Miami? That remains to be seen. Jalen Waddle, who's been facing injuries every year, like now the offense, you still got speed components at every position. You even get Darren Waller out of retirement, he'll be playing tonight. So I mean, there's a lot that the Dolphins have to offer, and Mike McDaniel, who is considered to be an offensive genius, have people caught up to him? Have they caught up to the fastball? You remember how it was with Steven Strasburg when he gets to the league throwing 101 miles an hour, and then people say, all right, we're just going to wait on in the timing. And now speed is neutralized. So now the Dolphins have to find a new way to win. And quite frankly, the Jets seem to be up for the challenge. And I'm not going to make a prediction on this game, but if I were to look at the trajectories, I would probably go with the Jets.
Yeah, I would if I was logging on to mybookie.ag right now, putting in my TMR code, I'm going with the Jets as well. I do think there's probably more of a sense of urgency on the Dolphin side of it. But I like you said, the arrow. When you look at these 2 similar records, they mirror images of each other. The losses look completely different.
Mm-hmm.
One has been in games and got momentum going. The other is just flat and stale. And I would tell you this, Dukes.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to win in football. I don't care what level you're playing. It's hard to win.
For sure.
But if I'm going to consistently lose,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to consistently lose trying to get the ball to my best guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether Tua ain't what he used to be, whether Tariq ain't what he used to be, I'm going to make that connection to Tua and Tariq happen to Tua and Waddell. I mean, like that's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if we're going to drop a game, I'm going to drop a game with my heroes having the ball. versus trying to prove something different.
I mean, Mike McDaniel went out and did something we hadn't seen in a long time. That Al Davis, right? God bless him. This is what he wanted. Put speed everywhere. That's it. Speed. And that's what they did. They went and got Tyreek Hill. They went and got Jalen Waddle. And then you go draft Devin Achane. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. But these are probably the three fast. I would venture to say they're probably the three fastest offensive players in the NFL. Like you won't find another three, but they're all similarly shaped, about 5'10", on a good day, and they just run really, really fast. Well, when you get hands put on you, that neutralizes speed. And so guys are saying, you know what? Before we didn't want to press them because we were scared to get beat deep. Well, I tell you what, if the quarterback doesn't have time, I don't care how fast you are. If you can't get off the line, it does not matter. Yeah. And I think teams are starting to catch up to that. So I think you're going to have to see Mike McDaniel go to his second neck as an offensive coordinator and a play caller, which is really, which I really believe is the true merit of an offensive genius. Is what do they do when we take away the left hook? If that's what you're looking for, okay, what do you do when the crossover, the left to right crossover ain't working? What's your secondary move? And I think that's what you got to figure out as a Miami Dolphin. I really thought Ali Gordon from Oklahoma State last year, the big running back. I think he really does good things when he gets in the game. So being able to open up the perimeter game by being able to have an interior running game would work wonders for the Dolphins. But hey, what do I know?
Know a lot as far as I'm concerned. I'll say this, man, about that speed kills. When you got fast receivers, the other team got fast DBs, but the other part of the game is unadjusted. Dukes, before you and I had gray hair, you wanted a linebacker weighing 245, 250. Now linebackers are weighing 225, because the defense is adjusting to the wide open spread and speed of the offense. And so, like you said, speed is neutralized because I'm getting hands on you in the first 5 yards. And now your 4.3 is a 4.7.
Right.
And that 0.3, 0.4 seconds makes a difference when you're throwing to open spaces, throwing to spots versus throwing to people because you just know he's gonna get there. Well, he ain't there yet. Right. Because I got a guy that chipped him, that made him move off that route and change the leverage of it. I'm still saying we'll see tonight, man. I'm still saying Jets. I'm gonna go with the more brotherly looking brother, the two brothers. So give me the Jets on it, man. Even though both of them, like I said, 0-3, somebody finna get their first win of the season.
Man, you know what's crazy? When I saw and I hated it too, man, because of course it was against the Bucks. And Aaron Glenn, when they blocked that field goal and he hit that step down the sideline, I said they're gonna lose. I said as soon as I saw it, I said, I'm one of them kind of superstitious guys.
Yeah.
I was like, man, hit it. Man, that would have been the perfect step after you won the game. First win coming off the field, talking to your guys, then hit it. He hit it right. Then when he felt it, I said, yeah, buddy. I said, that ain't going to end well. So, man, hopefully my boy AG, man, because I think he's a phenomenal coach, and I think he has a long, long time to be a head coach.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think he really does a good job. And you can see Detroit missed him, not to say that they're horrible or, but I'm just saying.
No, I'm with you.
You can tell that he's missed in Detroit.
But hats off to Detroit for being where they are. We're losing so many coaches.
Man, what you talking about, man?
Yeah, like to still be there. We're gonna dive into some WNBA on tomorrow because we got a decisive game 5 and then the final starting on Friday. And it's gonna be the first time that the WNBA final is gonna be best of 7. So we're gonna reserve that tomorrow. But speaking of women's basketball, she said, I wanted y'all to hear from me and not the room meal. JuJu dropped her statement yesterday saying, not gonna play this year.
I don't blame him. I mean, now this is like, is it? When would her return be? Like that's what I haven't checked in to find out because if
she would have been more, I don't want to, it's hard to call it mid-season because them games in November and December really don't be mattering. I think she was eyeballing more January, February.
I mean, I think this is one of those things where, look, am I trying to win today or am I trying to win for the next 20? And I think that's one of those that's one of those decisions. So, man, kudos to her team for understanding. Like, now there's a spirit of a competitor and a spirit of competition, and we all know this, right? But they all talked about Jamar Chase when he sat out that year before he got to the league, and they were like, "Oh, Jamar Chase is making a huge mistake, and he shouldn't do this because he's losing his competitive juice, and he won't be able to do it." And then he gets in the training camp, and he drops a couple of passes, and Jamar Chase is a bust, and now he is literally the #1 wide receiver in the league, and he made a decision that worked for him. So I think when you come to elite level athletes, you have to allow them to make decisions because the mental health aspect is something that we don't talk about enough in sports. Because if you ain't right up here, you ain't gonna be right in here, and your body ain't gonna be right. So I think her being able to have that cushion to know, like, you know what, by the time I step back on the court, I'm going to be all the way ready. I'm going to be ready for the next phase of my career. And who knows, JuJu might say, I want to play another year of college. I might want to, actually, she has eligibility. She might want to play 2 more. She might want to say, I want a medical red shirt. I mean, it's a lot that she can do. So I think her sitting out the year to make sure that knee is right, I think it's the right decision for her. And for those that don't, I mean, I would venture to say you get to that level of success with you or your child, and you make that decision on your own.
I'm gonna tell you this, Dukes. Not only do I agree with and support her decision, I also think, and I ain't talked to JuJu. I don't know her. I don't know her mama and them either. But I will tell you this: something I suspect and believe. When you look at it in the past, what makes JuJu's decision a little bit more easier than it was 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, NIL. I don't have to rush back.
Right.
Because I'm still on these commercials. I'm still producing revenue. And much like when Travis Hunter, as a freshman who came from high school to Jackson State with some ankle issues, when Coach Prime sat him and advised him on the surgery and then worked his comeback in at a slower pace than the world wanted, Coach Prime told Travis personally, told him on the sideline before a game, and told the world, I'm not worried about these next 3 games. I'm worried about your next 15 years.
Right.
And so we could put you out here, against FAMU, and then you ain't able to play against San Francisco in 2025.
Right.
And so I think JuJu is looking at the same way here. Here I am a NIL bankrolled, marketable athlete, whether I am shooting a jump or it's the off season, right? So I don't have the financial pressure of having to go back and do something. And then when I do completely heal and make sure I'm 100%, so I minimize doing this thing again, the bank gets bigger.
Right. Absolutely.
And so it's almost like, hey, you want $500 a day, you want $500,000 a year from now. It's, and to a man that got 0, it's hard to turn down that 500 a day. But when you already got 2,000, you're like, no, I'm straight. I can wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Good on that.
Wait.
Right.
So I expect when women's basketball season kicks up, college basketball, November, December really starts to uptick going into conference play in January, you're gonna see just as many JuJu commercials this year as you seen last year. And she's still that chick.
No, for sure. Absolutely. Some people had an it factor, and she has it in spades.
Yeah. I did. I love the way she, controlled the narrative and did her own announcement on her gram, put her own statement out, her words, versus a press release that could get edited or something. Like, no, I'm finna. And that's another thing, like the power that these athletes have to communicate their own stories.
No, for sure. Man, hey, Chico back there. Can we run that clip, Chico?
JuJu's clip?
Yeah. I mean, not Chico, Manny. My bad. Ask Manny. Chico, ask Manny.
On her ground.
Yeah, see if it's on her ground still.
Yeah, Von Randall. Prime gonna always put the as Chico Manny pulls it up. Prime gonna always put the players first in their health first. Like he will ask, the trainers, hey, who good, who ain't, because he understands that. Like he's one of those coaches. I know we finna after this go to CU football, because Prime is one of those coaches that has been there, done that at every phase of it. He has been the athlete that was recruited. He's been the man on the team. He's been the parent of the kid that's being recruited. And so you got a lot of people out there who won't put your health first because they're trying to put their goals first.
No, you're right, man.
Coaches.
Man, I was just talking to some guys in there in Atlanta just about the how coaches, how it's the coaching industry is like chess, and the pawns are really the players. And sometimes you may be a little bit more than a pawn. You could be a knight, but the guys making the calls, the coaches, like they're trying to make all the moves, and it's to benefit them. And a lot of the time, so when you find a coach that says, you know what, I'm good, dog. My life is it made or broken because if you play one more game, but this could make or break your life if you play one more game. I'm not going to rush you back. And you hear countless stories of guys getting rushed back from injuries just to re-injure themselves. And it's, oh, well, or stay in places they shouldn't be to benefit a coach or somebody in power, when if that person had their best interest, they would say, hey, man, you may not play here, or hey, man, hey, you may be rushing yourself back. So it's always refreshing to hear those stories about coaches who really do put the players first.
Yeah. Deuce, man, if you could make that bigger where my man Deuce can read it. I know I can't see it that small. Oh, yeah, just I press play on either way.
Using my favorite NYX products.
No, we ain't talking about her makeup. We're talking about the announcement. You just had the words up on the screen, man. Yeah.
I'll read it. All right. These last few months have been filled with a lot of healing, rest, and reflection. Recovering from this injury hasn't been easy, and I want to say thank you. Your love, support, and kind words have truly lifted me up during one of the most challenging times in my life. Because you've been with me every step of the way, I wanted you to hear from me directly that following the advice of my doctors and trainers, I will sit out this season and fully focus on continuing to recover so I can come back to the game I love. I'm incredibly thankful for my family, teammates, coaches, the USC training personnel, Jason, Shane, and everyone who's continued to support me every day through this journey. I'm excited to keep putting the work in to come back even stronger. All right.
Put the work in, come back stronger. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to JuJu.
Shout out to
everybody
Manny,
else who had the same injuries this past season, in the NBA as well, and got to make those same decisions at some point, because it's going to be October, Dukes, but October is preseason for basketball. Like, that's when your team starts working out. So that's why the announcement is coming now. Like, I'm letting y'all know, y'all not going to see me in practice, dog.
Yeah, it's on the way. On right, man.
Yep. Yeah, it's all good in the hood. Hey, you ready to go to CU?
Let's do it.
Well, first, before we go to Folsom Field, let's go by uncandchico.myshopify.com. Got your T-shirts, your hoodies, your hats, your crew necks, and more. You can get your Deuce to Scoop merch. You can get your Uncle Chico merch. You can get your Chico merch. You can get the pregame merch. You can get every damn thing you're looking for in their merch. So just check them out. Go to the site. Hit them up. Dukes, I know you're in the ATL, and I know them eyes started closing. You had to hit that no-dos. 8:30 kickoff at Folsom Field. BYU came to town. They got out of here with a W. We got out of here with some bought lessons because we learned some things.
Let me ask you this. Before we even get started, let me ask you this. Bought lessons.
Yeah.
What would you say the biggest one was? Give me two bought lessons.
You're not good enough to ease up. Sometimes you've seen it, Dukes, in boxing matches. And speaking of boxing, Wednesday, October 1st, we're going to have boxing promoter AC Clark on.
Okay.
Y'all make sure y'all check out Wednesday's episode of the Morning Run. A lot of times, man, you can get up in a fight.
Right.
And the fight seems easy.
Mm-hmm.
And you just like, no, I got this, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can coach the rest of the way. Like, this cat ain't good as I thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
You get your ass knocked out doing that.
Right.
A lot of other times, when it seems easy, that's the time to apply pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead and finish the job. And I think one of the things it happened with Georgia Tech with those 3 early turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
So that was lesson 1. That was theory. And now you got proof of concept that when you went up 14 on these jokers, and instead of trying to go up 28, 56, 112, like instead of trying to go up, you tried to maintain. You just tried to stay ahead on the scorecard. Again, boxing analogy, instead of finishing the fight. I think that was a ball lesson.
Yep. You know what? Let me chime in on that. So on Saturday, I I was at Arkansas for the Notre Dame Arkansas game. Do you know Arkansas was up 42? I mean, excuse me, Notre Dame was up 42-6 or something crazy like that, and ran a fake punt.
Yep.
A
And
fake
I think
punt.
finally put up 56 points. Like they didn't stop.
They did not stop. They ran a fake punt. Then it wasn't no, and people were saying, what the hell did Sam Pittman do to Marcus Freeman for them to run it up like that on them? And you know,
look, when
It's
you
what
see
he's
that
doing.
gnat sitting on the table and you can reach for the fly swatter, the sledgehammer, then that ain't done nothing to you.
man,
Reach for the sledgehammer. Because guess what the other gnat's gonna do?
right.
I'm get the hell up out of here.
Man.
Go crazy.
Man,
He broke his own table hitting me.
Man, 42-6, I believe, and ran a fake punt. So just to your credit, but where was Notre Dame last year in January?
In that thing.
Oh, hello? Okay.
In that thing.
Right. So
Standing up in it.
right. Yeah.
Playing
Exactly.
started.
Well, crazy.
Notre Dame. No, oh shit, Notre Dame. You that Clarence Carter. You know about you asked me for two. That was one.
Now give me the other one.
This one you kind of knew before the game.
Okay.
And let me reverse engineer this thing for people who don't be picking up on Prime. Because he be dropping it down. He like he said he cried to you, lied for he lied to you.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the past Prime organizations, whether it was Jackson State first 2 years here in Colorado, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you've always seen like a line of leaders and dogs or people competing for it. We got to week 4 before he identified some, and they were specialists.
Mm.
And what that says to me, if you kind of peek behind the curtain, even though he's doing that publicly, this team got talent, but it's leaderless. And when you get in situations, coach is coach, man. Don't get me wrong, coach is coach. But coaches can't lead the team.
Right.
Players have to lead the team.
Right.
Like you look at Coach Swayze in the weight room, strength and conditioning. Yeah, he write the script. This is what we're going to do today. He motivate, but they got to do it.
Right.
And they got to be the ones to push each other to do it, spot each other to do it. Like they got to do it. And so it's the same thing during the game. Like somebody has to rally the troops, and there has to be a member of the troops.
Absolutely.
And all the times, man, that's not necessarily your best player on the team. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, relatively speaking, are quiet guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like they say something when there's something got to be said, but they're not rah-rah guys.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have yet to have emerge on this team, and I think you have it after this one, and we're going to get into it. You don't have a Cameron Silver Craig who's just going to say, hey, everybody shut up, eyes on me. I got something to say to the team.
Right.
And so I think those two glaring things, as we're going to get ready to go through the offensive, defense, and special teams, I think those two glaring things are the bought lessons for me.
Yeah.
Like we got to learn how to finish, and somebody got to step up and lead.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's always a ton of blame to go around when things happen, right? And it's, okay, did you get the right players? It's, did you pick the right quarterback? It's, did you get the, did you respond? Did you recruit well enough? Should you have had more high school people? Did you pick the right coaches? Is Coach Prime the right coach? And that's part of what happens when you lose a game. A lot of these questions, we're talking about, what was it, 24-21?
The final?
Yeah, but like maybe
the final was less than a touchdown.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we're talking about a swing that it will cause people. Now, if you win this game, a lot of these questions don't arise. But it's a part of it. And winning fixes everything. So as a championship team, they're usually player-led with good coaching support, right?
Yeah, period.
They say teams that win games are coach-led. Teams that win championships are player-led. So now, what I will say is this, and I've been saying it the whole time: when stuff starts to go off the rails, you're gonna see changes being made, and there have already been some changes being made. Like, I mean, there have been. I think that, and some of the changes, I'm not sure if they'll be out, but it's gonna be some stuff going on for sure. And I don't think this is a bad thing for Colorado to undergo some changes because it's clearly not working. We're talking 0-2 in the Big 12. And when people say things that are derogatory or maybe not in support of the team, you can say they probably bought that right from, sitting and watching a product that should probably really and truly should be about 4-1. This is a 4-1 team walking around with a 2-3 record. And that's just the truth. But like my man says, you are what your record says you are. So right now, this is a talented 2-3 team. And I think there are multiple ways to get this back right, but it's got to start this week as a 2-touchdown underdog.
But I think that's your opportunity, and I also think that's what helps you, quote unquote, sleep a little better at night. Because when you look at all the things that could be wrong, you could have the same record and be talentless.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing that you're not finna convince me of, not you to me, Dukes, I ain't like Chico, my fist ain't balled up. I'm talking about the world.
Right.
One thing the world ain't finna convince me of is that this team does not have talent. This team has talent.
Right.
You look at the games that quote unquote, woulda, coulda, shoulda won. Look at the success that Georgia Tech has had after us, and you could have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what you did to BYU compared to the last time you played. And let me touch on that for a second. One of the reasons I was absolutely convinced that Colorado was going to win this game is because, as y'all heard me say on the morning run, the things that cost us the game have been fixed. But I left off one category, Dukes.
What's that?
I'm gonna let you down.
Wow.
We lost that game in San Antonio because they had 180 yards rushing and we had 2 yards rushing. You hear me now, Dukes? 2, not 20. We had 2.
Right.
Because those sacks discount the rushing, and we had lack of a rushing game.
Right.
So that was a factor.
Right.
Then you look at special teams. We're about to have Coach Pollock on. They faked a punt. I mean, not faked a punt. They ran a punt back for a touchdown and executed a successful onside kick. That wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Right. So I'm knowing right there, you in this game.
Right.
What I forgot about, man, was the penalty proneness, the lack of discipline. And even though our numbers have decreased this year in the number of penalties we have per game, so that arrow is trending up, it is better. The timing and football IQ of when those penalty happens, it is drive killers.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably had 3 penalties that resulted in what would have been 14 to 21 points.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we could talk about not throwing the ball downfield. We could talk about getting away from the run. We could talk about the defense not having a spy to stop their running quarterback. There's a lot of layers to these losses. But if you just change 2 of those 6 penalties, because I think we both had the same number of penalties, but ours was for more yards. If you just change 2 of those penalties, you win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing Coach Prime said about facing a team like BYU is they're so disciplined, they're not going to beat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to put you in a position where you beat yourself. And here goes Salter with a big run down the sideline. We had a wide receiver holding, and we've been working on blocking that play all week.
Right.
Here's a 3rd and 17, and the defense that we were in, you're supposed to stand like on the 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody backpedaled, and he ran for 16 and put him in an opportunity to go for 4th and 1, and they got it. Man, there's so many little things. And so that's why I say, I'm still optimistic about what this team can accomplish because it's little things, not big things. And those little things are addressable. And you just got to you got to take first thing first. You got to go TCU and win.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm telling you, when you look at all the times, and this is for fans who've been following, you look at the losses, you look at a 4-18 2 years ago versus a 4-18 this year. You look at those losses and you look at these losses. Now, a L is a L. Do not get me wrong.
Period.
But when you look at the way you were losing when you were a 4-18 versus the talent that this team has and the way they're losing to these teams now, because you got every team, BYU 4-0, Houston 4-0, Georgia Tech 4 or maybe 5-0, like depending if they had undefeated teams. Was it the teams that you've lost to are all undefeated, if I ain't mistaken. So you got a gauntlet of a schedule, but Colorado could easily be that 4-1 team. What do you fix in the meantime? Who's going to step up and say no more? Who's going to step up and say, you know what? We're going to practice we're player-led practice. Who's going to step up and say, we're doing this on our own? Who's going to step up and say, Coach, hush, we got it. We don't need you for this.
I know you might be asking rhetorical, but I'm going to tell you your name because it's already happened.
Who's that?
Tawfiq Byard.
Hello.
He did it as soon as Coach Prime got done talking post-game and left out the locker room, he took over.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he said, you know how Sundays is typically like a walkthrough kind of practice for the guys who didn't play? He said everybody need to come and pass tomorrow. Don't show up here and spot us the shells. We showing up and pass tomorrow. And like that's what this team, from my internal view, has been lacking internally, is being player-led. Somebody saying, you know what, nah, we got this, coach. We got this.
Right. I mean, you see Houston right there, still 4-game winning streak.
And that's one of the things about these streaks. You look at what the Arizonas did last year, whether it was Arizona State, I can't remember which one was in the finals. Nevertheless, as we sit here right now, this time last year, they had the same record.
Yeah.
And what they do? They went on a damn run. And here's what I'm saying to anybody who listen, to anybody who don't believe or believe. Well, if you don't believe, I don't know why the hell you sit here entertaining it, unless you're just a hater. But here's what I see. I see people remaining on our schedule that when this team plays the way this team is capable of playing, you can win.
Right. Yeah.
Now, you left a lot of destiny in outside of your hands. You might need some help here and there, because one thing we learned last year, that 9-3 wasn't good enough.
Right.
You know, we went 9-3 and just missed it. We're now already at 2 conference losses.
Right.
But the opportunity to get going in the right direction, if you don't know it's there, maybe you just ain't watching none of these games or don't know ball. I don't know. But if you look at the rest of the schedule and be like, oh, we can't win nothing else, you out your mind.
I mean, you played the best teams. You're playing the best teams in the Big 12. Manny just put it on the screen, but you playing the best teams, and you're right there. So now I'm looking down, I'm like, all right, if this team puts it all together and just plays a clean game, you don't even have to be dominant. Play a clean game. You know, the penalty numbers aren't horrible. It's like you said, the timing of the penalties.
It's the timing of it's situational football. It's football IQ. It's knowing one of the first things you do is know down and distance. It's still fundamentals. Like me and Chico talked last night on Uncle Chico Live, Sunday, Thursday night. Shout out to that broadcast. If you are tackling the correct way, meaning not reaching, it's hard as hell to get a face mask. Face mask is a reaching penalty. Like you lunging out trying to grab something. If you go ahead and get there with your feet and body, you're not gonna get a face mask.
Right.
You know, same thing with blocking. If you know which way the runners come behind you, you're looking at them, and you've already done your block, you don't have to block from behind or through a hole. The man has already gone by.
Right. Right.
Like that's just fundamental technique, knowing the situation. And then same thing with QB play. One of the things I was real excited about early in the game is when I seen Salter throw one away. And I literally clapped, and there was a guy standing next to me on the sideline. What you clapping for? Like, that wasn't complete. I said, no, he threw it away. Wasn't nothing there. Last week he didn't do that, so that shows me improvement. And then what he do later on in the game? He pirouetted, backpedaled, spun around for about 20 yards and took a sack that took you out of being able to go for it on 4th down. Because you were at midfield, you get a couple more yards. Now you got a Buck Buchanan that can make that field goal. But that's like situational awareness. You know, you got to know the situation, got to know the down and distance, you got to know what's going wrong. But there's so much across the board that you can hang on. That I think that the key in this, like you've been talking about, Dukes, may not necessarily saying the word is man, just finish the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Like everything that you're doing, and I'm not just talking about like a play call or schematic. I'm talking about execution and effort, attention to detail. Everything that you did in the first 2 quarters, do it in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Instead of assuming we got this, we're comfortable winning 14-10, you know, or 14-7 or 14-3. Take that mentality out your head and go like, no, I want to be 28-3.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do what Notre Dame did, even though the game is over. Watch this.
Right. You can't win a 12-round fight in the first 5 rounds.
Nope.
You pointed that
Man,
out.
I wish Manny would have heard that and hit that horn or trumpet or drums like something.
Yeah, no, seriously, man. Like, and you pointed that out earlier, and I'm watching ball different. You know, I'm going around the country watching ball live, and I'm talking to different coaches. And the most dangerous coach in America this year that's got people scared right now, is defensively somebody who's scaring folks is Lane Kiffin. You know why? Because he got a check for your check. What's that mean? That means that when he sees that defense check out, he's checking into something else too. And when you watch Ole Miss play, you'll see that this year. Like, oh, they check, we checking too. They check, we checking too. Now, I'm not saying nobody else does that. What I'm saying is football is a game of adjustments, and it comes from the top down, and everybody has to adjust. So if the coach say adjust, players got to adjust. And if the players see something, they got to let the coaches know. I think right now, Colorado has to do a better job adjusting to when things aren't going the right way. When you see things start to go out of whack, or things are flying off the rails, you got to do a better job adjusting. When Colorado,
I got to tell you this, Chico. I mean, Dukes, I got to say this to that. Mm-hmm. And this is not to erase it. This is semicolon. Like this, I want to add on to your sentence there.
Yeah, for sure.
You still got to execute it.
No, that's what I'm saying. The players.
Because what I'm telling you is I saw and heard and got it recorded the adjustments that Hilo made in the locker room.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
I know you're not saying. I'm saying this for the group.
Okay.
I'm saying this for the 323 watching live, and the thousands upon thousands going to watch it later.
No, yeah, exactly.
And if you don't stand where I tell you to stood.
Right, no, I get it. Like, from top to bottom, if everybody steps to the left, then we all got to step to the left, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And everybody, so if something changes, then what we started out one way, and something changes, then the players got to know, okay, well, if this guy juked to the left last time, well, maybe in this part of the game, he's going to the right. So I feel like it's one of those things where, because it's not just Lane Kiffin beating folks, it's this guy, this D2 quarterback from Ferris State that's also beating folks. They just got it rolling in the right direction. And I'm saying that to say that that doesn't mean that it can't happen for Colorado. But when Colorado figures out when they go up 14 and that was a tie game, it's like, all right, maybe they're on to this. When we make that adjustment, the players got to believe it and do it just like the coaches are putting it out there to be done.
Agreed. Mike Peasy! He's off the Heezy for Sheezy joining the show. Is my man. Every conference he's been in, he's had the greatest hair, but now he's one of the greatest special teams coordinators ever walked the face of this planet. Coach Michael Pollock is joining the Morning Run. Coach P,
what's up?
The Morning Run.
Appreciate y'all. Glad to be here, man.
Yes, sir, Coach.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Coach, it's Monday.
Yes,
game
sir.
was Saturday. Team meeting on yesterday in practice. What talk about the mechanics of, we got to address what happened with BYU, but we also got to pivot and go toward TCU. What's been the vibe, whether it's coaches or players? What's your view?
Well, in this business, you got to have a short memory, and whether you win or lose, the next team's coming in 7 days, whether you like it or not, and you just got to pivot fast. You got to learn to put things behind you, and you got to learn from your mistakes. I mean, we've got another undefeated team coming in here. We've lost to 3 undefeated teams, and we got another one this Saturday. So we got to make sure to take care of it.
Yeah, shorter week with the travel as well, because we got to spend one of those days, a half a day on the road. How do you guys adjust and get ready for that? Not just the game plan itself, but it's condensed this week.
Well, fortunately, we've got experience going down to Fort Worth, and the plan we used last time worked pretty good, and I just feel like it's good. I mean, it's a Saturday game, so we'll be leaving on Friday, like we normally would for an away game. And so we just got to keep through with our process and keep focusing on what needs to be done every day. And by the time we get on that plane Friday, it's we're locked and loaded, ready to roll.
Hey, Coach, are you able to use the team's records that you've lost against as like maybe like a motivational tool to say, hey, look, guys, you see how close we are? When you look at the way that you've played all three of these undefeated teams, 12-0 worth of wins that you've lost to, how can you use that mentally or as a motivational tool to get these guys to understand how close they really are?
Well, I think that's a great way to try to spin a positive on it if you can find one. I mean, you're losing to good teams, and you're right there. That's what's so frustrating is, you lose to BYU, who's by 3, you lose to Georgia Tech by 7, who's obviously upset Clemson and obviously one of the top teams in the country. And of course, Houston, I think that they've surprised everyone, and done a great job and continue to do a great job. So yeah, I think you tell the kids, hey guys, yeah, I know we've come up short. I know it's frustrating. I know we're all upset, but we're right here in these games, and if we clean up just one or two things, it's just one or two plays. And the thing that's really frustrating is it's self-inflicted. It that we control. We control holding penalties. We control taking sacks. We control not staying in our gap to start the run. We control not tackling on special teams when we got a guy on the 1 yard line, almost got a safety, and we let him out to the 5 yard line. I know a lot of people cheer about that, but as a coach, I'm looking at it like, man, we had a chance to put points on the board right there.
Yeah.
Goal line, and we should have made them pay for that. And I mean, what would have happened if we'd got a safety right there, and then now they got to kick off back to us from their 20, and we got a chance to get good field position, and we got momentum, we got the crowd in it. Things that we can control, things that we talk about all the time. Coach Prime talked about all last week about tackling, bringing your feet, not grabbing, reaching. And for me, people talk about, yeah, we've played good on special teams, and we have played good, but there's still small things that we can control that can really, be the difference in tight games. When you play good competition, it's gonna come down to one or two plays. It's gonna come down to, how you execute in those crucial situations. And right now we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot, and it's not been from a talent perspective or something the other team has done to us. We've done it to ourselves.
Coach, one of the things I've really enjoyed is the change in the grading system, not just putting the numbers up on the screen, but putting plays up on the screen that would have made differences, good, bad, indifferent, and ugly. And you kind of touched on it with one of yours, because special teams has been exceptional this year. Let me just say that, hats off to you and the work that you guys have done. But having said that, there's room for improvement when something's even exceptional. And there was a kickoff where we had a little more effort getting down the field, if not a safety there at the 1 yard line versus the 5. And I really love the way you spoke to the entire team, not just your specialists, that in this kind of game, that 4 yards is a mofo. Like, that's a huge difference bringing
Right.
a guy down at the 1, because we were all celebrating that he got tackled at the 5.
Right.
But it woulda, coulda, shoulda. Had not been for our technique and effort, he would have been at the 1.
Right.
Double back for me, man, because you were there as well when the defense walks through the woulda, coulda, shoulda plays in the offense. You're really talking about one or two plays self-inflicted that literally changed the outcome of the game. Well, why is that attention to detail going to be even more important going forward these next 7?
Well, I think the Big 12 is a conference that has always had a lot of parity. And we're going to be playing a lot of tight games for the rest of the season, and it's going to come down to those plays. It's going to come down to who's got the most attention to detail, who takes care of the little things. And it's going to come down to the point to where it's like Coach Prime says, man, put people out there that do what you tell them. You know what I mean? And and we've got to do a better job of making sure that our guys are on the field, that are doing what we ask them to do, and not kind of quote unquote going in business for themselves, and just not remembering my technique, not remembering the details of my assignment. Because I think a lot of times kids, when they don't do their assignment. It's not on purpose. I think they're trying to do too much. They're trying to be a guy that makes the play. And you know what? You got to let the plays come to you. You can't force plays. You gotta let the plays come to you. And if you do what you're told to, and you do your technique long enough, and you do it right, eventually it will happen, and the play will come to you. So that's just what we've got to continue doing, and we got to continue pointing out these small details. And I'm like you, man. I love what coach has changed the grading system, how we handle that. I mean, I think a picture's worth 1,000 words, and a video's worth more. And there you can't sit there and deny. You could say, well, coach, I thought I had a 4, or man, it was 1 or 2. How many times did we sit there in those meetings and coaches say, yeah, man, you were 1 or 2 plays from a 4. You were 1 or 2 plays from a 5. Well, we've seen what 1 or 2 plays get you. You know what I mean? And
Coach, one more on this BYU before we get a couple of TCU things in. I strongly believe that we were going to win this ball game, and I was hanging my hat on the things that we did to improve this team from that last loss. Our last game was against BYU down in San Antonio. We lost that game. We made some changes across the board, and I thought those changes would propelled us forward, such as we only had 2 yards rushing in that game. Well, with the backs that we have now in the quarterback, I knew we were going to have more than 2 yards rushing, which was going to lead to more time of possession for us.
Right.
And then the improvements, hats off again to you on special teams. They ran a punt back on us at the Alamo Bowl, and they executed an onside kick on us. I knew that wasn't going to happen this game because we got the best hair coach of the special teams that can do it. But here's what I forgot, Coach. I forgot penalties.
Yeah.
And whereas our numbers this year are lower, our
Right.
situational awareness of these penalties, to me, going forward, has got to change. What do we do to clean up just understanding down and distance, and this ain't the time for that?
Well, it goes back to you can depend on, and making sure that hey, listen, if a guy keeps doing the same thing over and over, then we got to take that into account and not put him in that situation. I mean, heck, I saw highlights of a game this weekend. Running back fumbled deep in his own territory, and the coach, I mean, he's starting running back, and he didn't put him in for the rest of the game. You don't continue to let people, and I think our coaches do a great job of that. But like I say, it's a learning experience, it's a learning process, and like I say, you gotta be aware as a player. You gotta be aware as a coach. All right, this is a situation maybe this guy don't need to be in, or this is a situation, hey, I need to be extra careful right here. If we got a run play going to their sideline, we got to be better and make sure, because about the holding, we can't put ourselves, because their coach is going to be yelling holding, and that referee just been listening to them all night on the sideline, and they've been complaining to him, and of course they've been patting him on the back, making him feel, trying to butter him up, love him up a bit. They're going to get that holding call, if we give them a chance. So, there's just situations that we got to be more aware of, and we just got to understand that we can't put it in the referee's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you, a lot of people seem to think like the coaching staff feels they're bigger than God and they're perfect and it's all on the players. Talk about how hard coaches are on themselves, especially how hard you guys on yourselves when things don't go right.
Well, I tell you what, I guarantee that Saturday night after the game, all the coaches, got on their iPad, watched the game, self-evaluated what they're trying to do, and players play, coaches coach, and sometimes we get more on both sides. We get more credit than we deserve. We get more blame than we deserve. And if you worry about taking blame or anything, this probably isn't a sport for you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with social media out there. And a lot of coaches and players have, things are going good and everybody's patting you on the back on Twitter and telling you how great you are and posting your picture on Instagram and doing all this. Well, when things go bad, they're going to do the same thing. It's just going to be a different narrative. And you got to understand that you got to have tunnel vision, and you got to quit worrying about, well, am I getting blamed, or they get, because it doesn't matter who's getting blamed. What matters is there's a problem and it needs to be fixed.
Mm.
And so, as a coach, you never go out and try to point the finger at anybody but yourself, and And I think, but I think too, you know, the news media ask you questions, and you know, obviously our program has more inside access than most programs, so people hear a lot more. But I can assure you, the same narrative, the same things that's going on at our place, at our practices, goes on at other places. I tell you what. I went to University of Georgia, and I got a little red and black in me. But let me tell you right now, if you want to hear something that go ride through Athens, Georgia, close to that practice facility. I guarantee you, they that microphone wide open, and you'll hear some things said that will burn your ears.
Yeah.
Hey, people that are not in football, that haven't coached it, haven't played it, they don't understand what goes on in a locker room, what goes on at practice, how way people, they're, you know, you don't have time to, you know, always pat a guy on the back and say, hey, buddy, I need you to do this. But they don't see that, hey, I can get on to him at the game. I can get home at practice because behind closed doors, because in the cafeteria, when I've seen him in the hallway, I've put my arm around him. I've asked about his family. I've developed that relationship. So these people that don't know that and don't see that, they don't understand how we can, you know, communicate the way we can and be as blunt as we can, and they look at it different on the outside and on the inside.
You know, Coach, one of the things you touched on that inside outside comparison there. This is one of the most open programs, you know, in the nation and probably in history for that matter. I'm blessed and grateful for the opportunity to be one of those lenses to share with the world. But because we share so much, one of the byproducts of that, Coach, and this is just me speaking, y'all let me know how y'all feel. Because you show so much, people think when they don't see something, that means it's not taking place.
That's right.
And what they don't get to see is these grading film sessions with the players. And what they don't get to see is the coaches stand up there first and say what they messed up on.
Yeah.
Like, and so the world thinks that somebody's just blaming players. Rob Livingston would get up every time and say, hey, here's the two things I failed at. I bet y'all don't do that again. Now I need you to not do this again. Let me show you what you did. Like it is full accountability. It's not just player. It's coaches. It's the head coach. It's the equipment staff. Coach Prime demands accountability from everybody. What did you do this game that you're going to improve on for next game and not do the same crap again? It goes for everybody.
But I tell you what, you know, Rob does a great job of that, and I tell you what, our other coaches do as well. And I've even tried to make sure that because I get on pretty hard for special teams about mistakes they make and things at practice, and I'm pretty blunt about it. I don't really try to sugarcoat it very much.
People don't know you, Coach Pollock. they would be amazed. They would be impressed, but they'd be amazed if they got to see when that face get red. And
well, at the same time, you can do that as long as you do take accountability for things you do. And you know, I think you know, I've tried to do a great job myself of sure when I make a mistake that, you know, I tell our guys, hey man, this was on me. I take this one. I'm gonna eat this one myself, but I need you to fix this in the future. You know, kids respect that. Anybody respects that. You know, and you know, I think it just makes you more human, and you know, you can't always just. Nobody calls a perfect game. Nobody makes a perfect decision on everything. You know, it's easy for people to sit there and say after the fact what should have happened. You know, and that's the thing about coaching is, you know, if it works, then he was a genius. You know, he was an aggressive play caller. Now, you know, you call a reverse or a play action pass on 4th and 1, and you throw a touchdown or something like that, and you're a genius, man. What aggressive play calling. Well, you do the same thing and throw an incompletion, and you're gonna have everybody in the world. Why didn't you just hand the ball off and run? I mean, that's the benefit of being a fan, and the benefit and the lack of benefit of being a coach and a player. You know, we don't get to have do-overs. You know, we don't get on, you know, social media the next day and talk about, hey, this should have happened or that should have happened. You know, let me tell you something. If it don't work, I promise you, nobody's questioning themselves more than a coach.
Man.
Absolutely. And like I was saying, Coach, something where you alluded to it, some of those things we can't show. how it was supposed to go because it gives away the competitive advantage of what we're going to use to play in the future. So there's just, you know, some folks don't give the benefit of the doubt that this style of coaching is taking place. Coach, we passed the top of the hour. We're going to let you run. Want to say again, thank you for taking the time out to come on the morning run. You're more than welcome anytime. Your coaching style is clearly working with your specialists. And let me give you this bit of encouragement. One thing your guys don't have, like the defense offense guys they don't have a next play. Like it's one and done. So the expectation and the standard has to be higher because you don't get a second down and third down. You got to do it right this one time.
That's it. Hey, Coach P, man, I just want to tell you appreciate it, man, because even with us asking questions today, you just been so open and letting us into your world because it really bothers me sometimes. I got buddies in the coaching profession where it's like where people really don't think that coaches really get on themselves. And I've seen you get on yourself. So
Right.
I just wanted to I appreciate you for opening up and thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. See y'all later.
Sir. That's Coach Michael Pollock, Special Teams Coordinator for your CU Buffs. Appreciate him hopping on the morning run. Tomorrow on the morning run live, we got the pressers. Coach Prime will face the media to talk about BYU and the TCU trip. So we'll be covering that live and they'll have responses after. So pretty much tomorrow's show is probably going to be all press conference at the end of the day. Wednesday, special guest, boxer promoter AC Clark. Because one thing I found, Dukes, Chico, Roger Mayweather was right. Most people don't know shit about boxing.
Boy, you crazy. Man. No, you're right, though. For sure. Chico back.
Him and Manny back there fighting. I seen them in the green room arguing. Like, I'm telling this to the chat. You know, y'all don't know this, but we got another camera down here off screen where we can see who's in the green room. So, we get to see Chico and Manny. We get to see Coach Pollock when he logging on. Man, Manny and Chico been back there arguing, but I don't know what the hell they've been doing. I don't know. Maybe Manny check late, the first coming up. I don't know what's going on.
You see my face look right? I don't have no marks on my face.
Manny looked like he was about to have up on you back there.
We can't put the camera on Manny right now.
Right.
Yeah. The face don't look like mine. I'll say that. Yeah.
Big dog Chico.
Chico on land the plane, Chico.
I appreciate everybody joining us once again. Great show. Unc and Dukes flew the plane today like none other. We appreciate that. We took care of everything that's in the background and all the technical issues and things like that. Thank Coach Pollock for coming on. We're going to preview the TCU game coming up real soon tomorrow. So, and the pressers tomorrow too. Unc, Dukes, appreciate you guys. Great job. All the runners, as Dukes would do, with that black fist up.
Hey, y'all, when we go off, y'all two hang on a second.
All right.
We're going to be up and about here. Peace in the Middle East. Y'all.